Auzu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. Welcome to week number 5, record, recorded lecture number 14. Well, in this today's lecture, we will continue with the topic principles of effective communication, uh, quite often known as 7 C's of communication in our local context. Now, today we begin with the third principle, that is third C, known as consideration. Well, consideration means preparing every message with the message receiver in mind. As we have been discussing this point since our very first lecture, where we talked about communication process, and we did discuss that in interpersonal communication, the communication is successful only when it is received by the receiver as intended by the sender. So, receiver has been the most important in communication process, and so does this consideration principle focus that message should be prepared from the reader's perspective, keeping reader in the mind. Well, there can be certain situation in actual communication that where you may be little angry, right? In business situation, many things can happen that are against your desire, against your will, but even in those cases, you are not expected to lose your temper. You are not going to charge your receiver without facts, and you are not either going to accuse the receiver without any facts. Well, thoughtful consideration is also called you attitude, right? Well, you attitude has empathy, the human touch, and understanding of human nature. So these are key focus of this consideration and you attitude. So now moving towards first major principle of consideration, that is you attitude, where we say focus on you instead of I and we. So please remember one thing, it does not mean usage of I and we is not appreciated in every situations, right? Keep one thing in mind, that it's this principle doesn't say or does not forbid you to use I and we. It simply means that only in those situations where I and we focus or give priority to the sender and less priority to the receiver, only in those situations I and we should be avoided, or only in those situations where I and we communicates ego, right? So it's only in these situations. Otherwise, do not generalize this rule that I or we should be forbidden in all cases. No, it's only in certain cases, and we are limiting our discussion to communication principles only. Like we can have this example, we attitude example. I am delighted to announce that we will be extending our hours to make shopping more convenient. Now this is we attitude sentence, right? See, first I am delighted to announce, the importance goes to I. It means the message sender communicates that he or she is very important person. That we will be extending our hours, again the importance or the focus goes to we, to make shopping more convenient. Whereas consideration says, well, when you communicate, your focus should go to you. That it means the importance should be given to you. Convenience should be for you. For example, we have you attitude of the same sentence. Like you will be able to shop evenings with the extended hours, right? So here the focus and importance is given to the customer, to the people who will be coming to buy. So the first one is focuses on I and we, whereas the second one focuses on you. So in all positive situation, where and if possible, you should focus on you instead of I and we, because you want to give focus to the receiver. Now moving ahead with consideration. Well, avoid use of you attitude in negative situations, such as you failed to enclose your check in the envelope. Now this is a negative situation, you failed, right? Whereas considerate option would have been the check was not enclosed. That is of course passive usage. The first one, if you say you failed to enclose your check, that seems that the person deliberately did not send the check, right? And the second one, which is considerate, though it says the same thing, but it's bit polite way, the check was not enclosed, right? Like if I use Urdu, just for the sake of making it clear, the insensitive one would be something like that ke tumne check nahi bheja, that's sort of direct allegation. And the considerate one is the check was not enclosed. Like if I try to translate it in Urdu, it would be something like कि भाई इसमें इसके साथ check नहीं लगा हुआ था. Now this doesn't say that you did not send, right? Another way to make it considerate is the envelope we received did not have a check in it. Though the meanings are same, but the first one is insensitive and receiver can mind it, and second and third option are considerate. They consider the receiver, right? So in all negative situations, avoid you attitude. For example, if you are angry and you want to say someone that you do not know anything. Now do not know is actually a negative situation. So it's not as if we should be giving you don't know, you cannot write, right? For example, a teacher giving feedback to students as well, you do not know how to write. Now this is a negative focus. On the other hand, the teacher could have said that well you can focus more on ideas in your essays. Now this is a positive way of saying things, right? So you attitude is preferred, but if that is a negative situation, in negative situations avoid you attitude, because people will take it as personalized and as if you are placing an allegations on them. Well, second principle of consideration says show audience benefit or interest in the receiver when and if possible. Well, you attitude is first level of respect for your receiver. But it's not only, that you attitude, and that you know you just use you attitude, and then you do not give any other benefit. So whenever possible, in whatever way you can benefit your receiver, try to give them benefit. The benefit must meet recipient's needs. Like, for example, if you, like, all of us these days, Daraz is offering 1111, some sale deed, so that is beneficent for all recipients. So the benefit must meet recipient's need. Like that Daraz sale, it offers all everyday, uh, you know, consumable things that is needed every day. So then the third point, the benefit must be legitimate. Yeah, like you cannot use an illegal way to uh, give benefit to your client. But for example, like this, the sale one, that is option is open for everyone, and the organizations usually, legally announce it, and their customers and clients can go and they can take benefit from that sale, right? Okay. Well, then C, that is 3C, that says consideration, that says emphasize positive pleasant facts. Like these two columns, column 1, number 1 has negative and unpleasant, and column 2 has positive and pleasant for the same sentence. For example, this, let's first begin with first negative unpleasant. It says it is impossible to open an account. The word impossible itself is a negative word, which shows, disappointment to the receiver. Whereas the positive pleasant for this could have been, as soon as your signature card reaches, we will gladly open an account, or whatever the details are. So in the first one, the focus is we cannot open. In the second one, the focus is we can open if you provide your CNIC and all that. Now moving towards the next sentence, we do not refund if the returned item is soiled and unusable. The focus is we do not refund. It shows the rigidity on the part of communicator, we, right? The second one, we refund when the returned item is clean and resaleable. Now this one does not focus that we do not refund. They say we do refund, but the item should be clean and resaleable. So both have the same meaning. In neither of the cases they are going to refund a thing or an item that is not resaleable. But the first one, we do not one, focuses on negativity, whereas the second one, we refund, focuses on positivity. Now moving towards the third example, that says when you travel on company expense, you will not receive approval for first class fare. Again, focuses on negativity. You will not receive approval, right? Whereas the positive way to say the same thing could have been, when you travel on company expense, your approved fare is for tourist class, right? So they don't say that you will not receive first class, they say rather your approval is for tourist class, right? The meaning remains same, right? But one way, the first column has a negative way of saying, and the second column has positive way of saying. Avoid words like, impossible, not at all, cannot be done, no. These are negative, unpleasant words, right? And on the other hand, go for can do approach, like some positive examples have been stated here. Okay. Now let's move uh, towards the fourth principle of effective communication, that is concreteness. Well, misunderstanding of words have produced tragedies in both war and peace, in business and non business situations. It means this misunderstanding of words is not only limited to business communication, it has caused many problems that led ultimately to the war, that even it creates problem in the normal or peaceful situation. These misunderstanding of words are harmful in businesses, and they are even harmful in non-business situations like your personal situations. So we have to be very careful about using appropriate words that have closer meaning for the receiver as well as they have the meaning for us. So, the meaning that we have in mind, we should select a word that can communicate the same meaning, and we should use it in such a way that the receiver gets, if not the 100% same, but very close meaning of that of the sender. Like they say, use denotative rather than connotative words. Denotative words are those words that have dictionary meaning, that you use a word and the meaning in for which you use it's the similar one, or it's the same as given in a dictionary, so that if the receiver does not understand that word, ultimately that receiver is going to consult a dictionary, and if it if you used in the same for the same meaning as it is in the dictionary, then it's going to be easy for the reader or for the receiver to understand that word. Second, words are connotative words. Connotative words usually are based on context, that they have different meaning in one context and different meaning in other contexts. So connotative meanings should be avoided in communication, and especially in the situations when you know that your receivers are less familiar with the language skills that you are using for communication. So that's why they say use denotative rather than connotative words. For example, we can take this example of female. Female is generally taken as a gender representation. For example, if I use this term, well, I have 5 female colleagues. Now that is clear that 5 of my colleagues are, female gender, right? But this same word female can have different connotative meanings, you know such as wife, because female is a wife. Female can mean a widow. Female can mean a mother, right? So these words can have different meaning according to the context and according to situation. For example, it's all right to say that there are 5 female colleagues in my office. But if I say, well, yesterday one of my friend came with a female. Now, what does that female mean? That female could have been his mother, could have been his wife, could have been his sister, or somebody else. So, in that particular context, when I talked about my friend, I should have been specific that he came with his sister, he came with his aunt, he came with his mother, or maybe he came with his wife, right? So, we have to be very careful. In using the words, we should be very specific while using words in communication. Now let's move towards the first principle of concreteness, that is use specific facts and figures. B is put action in verbs, and C is choose vivid image building words. We shall see their details in the upcoming. Auzu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. Welcome to week number 5, record, recorded lecture number 14. Well, in this today's lecture, we will continue with the topic principles of effective communication, uh, quite often known as 7 C's of communication in our local context. Okay, and now let us move forward to this For B, that is put action in verbs, that wherein if possible in communication situation, the focus verbs should be focus instead of noun. For example, these two columns we have an example, focus on noun, where the sentence is professor will give consideration to the report. you know the the noun here is consideration, and in this sentence the focus is laid on consideration, whereas the rule says that focus should be given to verbs. Like we have this second sentence, the same sentence has been modified with focus on verb, which says professor will consider the report. So instead of saying professor will give consideration, so we had to use another verb give, and then we use consideration. So it's better that when we have a verb for consideration, that is consider, then why should we be using another verb and then another noun, and that we can go for simple making verb of the same noun, like professor will consider the report. Then the next rule in concreteness says choose vivid image building words. Like we have this example, we have this blend image, that is, this is a long letter, right? This is a blend image. Well, what does long mean? For somebody, long may mean one page. For somebody else, long may mean 5 pages. So this a long letter is actually a blend image, whereas what is the more vivid image, that is, this letter is 3 times as long as you said it would be. Now this is a more vivid image. We know that it is 3 times as long as the person said it would be. Now this 3 times is actually makes it more vivid, right? We can have another example, like blend image is proposals submitted this quarter were uninteresting, right? Proposals submitted this quarter were uninteresting. So this is a blend image, right? Then uh, like what made them uninteresting is not clear. Whereas if we have a look at a more vivid image, we say too many simple sentences, too many simple ideas gave the impression of the writing of a first year student. So these too many simple sentences and these too many simple ideas were actually that made it uninteresting. So the word uninteresting is not clear. What does it mean? Whereas this further detail, which is a vivid image, which covers that, okay, it's actually too many simple sentences and many simplistic ideas actually made it uninteresting, or you can say they made it too simple, which was not appropriate for the level that was being targeted in that case, right? So in this lecture we have covered two more principles of effective communication, right? We covered two principles in our first recorded lecture for this week, and now we have covered two more for the second recorded lecture of the week, and we will be covering remaining three inshallah in the next recorded lecture, where we shall be completing are this topic, principles of effective communication. Okay, so thank you very much, and inshallah, see you in the next recorded lecture with the remaining three principles. Please do take care of you, and take care. Thank you.